So I'm going to be doing something new for my channel, and it is a Transformer. I have never done a Transformer. I have not bought a Transformer since the 80s. I felt like that really wasn't kind of my thing, and once you get into the Transformers, it's kind of a deep hit. There are a lot of Transformer figures. In fact, there are a lot of Rodimus Prime Transformers figures. So this is Rodimus Prime. It's supposed to be like the 1980s version. He was introduced in the animated movie. Supposed to kind of replace Optimus Prime. Didn't exactly work out. This particular figure is by Threezero, and it is part of their MDLX line. So this one cost me about $87 plus shipping, $4 for shipping. I got it from Big Bad Toy Store. And so I'm going to start off with just a little comparison here. I have so Rodimus Prime, and then this is just a random Solar Chogokin figure. So they're both about, this maybe 6.5, but they're both pretty close to 7 inches tall. So we're going to weigh them and just do a quick comparison just for fun. So I'll turn this on. And Rodimus Prime is 7.3 ounces. And then the Solar Chogokin figure is 9.7 ounces. So he looks a little bit smaller, but it is denser. And so you could feel, I mean, it feels like a quality figure. The Solar Chogokin figures are going to run you about, 140 up to $200+ So there's a lot more metal in here. This is listed as having 46 points of articulation. Let me move this out of here. 46 points of articulation and die-cast zinc alloy and engineer-grade plastic internal frame system. So, you feel plastic everywhere. Plastic, plastic, plastic. I don't think that there might be some die cast in here. I think I do see some die cast in here, die cast in here. So I'm assuming the die cast just runs up the spine or the inside here, but the exterior is all plastic. These joints are all plastic, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with plastic, but it probably accounts for why it's lower priced. But it is not a cheap figure. It is, like I said, it was about $87, so not cheap. It's not a transforming figure, and so, I'm sure a lot of people will sit there and say, well, what is a transformer if it doesn't transform? But a lot of the high-end figures do not transform, and I am not a big fan of transforming figures. I think they're more trouble than they're worth in order to achieve the effect. So, like in the cartoons, it's not realistic. So to try and simulate what it does in the cartoon, you have to make sacrifices both in the vehicle and in the robot. And so each one looks inferior to what it could look like. This one, since it is not a transformer, I think looks very, very nice. I was looking at even some of the $200+ higher end transforming Rodimus Prime figures. And yeah, there are sacrifices that had to be made in the robot, in the vehicle. And so I'm only going to pose them in one. It's either the vehicle or the robot. And so I like to pose mine in robot. I don't play with my figures. I'm an adult collector. So there's really no point in it transforming for me. Again, if you say, well, I think they should transform, that's fine. I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But people like different things. So this guy doesn't come with a ton of extras. He has a blaster rifle, and so this actually can come apart, and then you can take this piece and attach it there to make a bigger rifle. It feels nice. Again, plastic. That's fine. It comes with a bunch of hands. I'm just going to show a few hands. It's got like fingers spread apart. Oops. This one I assume is for holding the gun, and then for whatever reason one of the hands is blue. So I don't know if that's a reference to something, but I think the figure looks looks very nice. And I'm not really a Rodimus Prime fan, but I liked the way it looked. I thought it looked pretty cool. It was an impulse buy. One of the things it talks about on there that Threezero does like weathering, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, weathering where? It looks immaculate, but there is some kind of down in here. I don't know if you could see that. It looks like it's a little worn away. So that is on purpose. That is not like the toy is kind of worn. So little subtle weathering, not much. I mean, it'd be kind of cool if the tires spun, but they don't. That's fine. So the wings here are removable very easily, and this piece, I'm not even sure why, but this little tip on here is also removable. So we'll look at the 46 points. I didn't go through and try to count the different, but I'll trust them. So he's got some neck movement here, some butterfly joints up in here. Now, like for instance, if this was a transformer, they would have to be very careful about the sizing on this front plate here, but it's not a transformer, so they can make it as they want to. All of these swing up. You know, they're it's almost like they're trying to pad on the numbers for the articulation. Oh, even something here. I'm not sure what that is. So he's got some nice movement there. That's pretty cool. And all the joints are very, very nice. They're nice and tight, but not overly tight. They're nice and snug with very wide range of movement there. I really like the colors, though. I don't know. I like them. So we go back and forth. And the arm bend. We bend up nicely. I would definitely consider getting more. I'm not going to start really going out and collecting Transformers because it's too much. I have really cut down on the number of figures I bought. I just can't keep, it's just too much space, taking up too much space. But I would consider like Starscream or some of the other jets and stuff like that. There aren't a ton of figures in this line. There are, I guess that, was it Hasbro or whatever, license it out to a lot of companies because there are a lot of different companies that are making these, from super cheap ones to super, super high. I mean, there's ones worth thousands. So this is, I would say, a nice, higher than a middle tier figure, but obviously the prices get much, much higher. But yeah, I am not displeased with this figure, and yes, it is good enough that I would consider buying some more figures. So that, well, let me show the box also, if I can squeeze that in here. This the way I have my camera set up. It's really hard to see. I can't show the whole thing unless I move my camera. But the box is nice. The box it's not large, very colorful. I'm impressed. It's a Chinese company, Threezero. At least it's made in China, and I think they did a really nice job. I think everything about this is very clean, very attractive, very appealing. So yeah, that is Rodimus Prime from Threezero, and their, what is it, MDLX? Oh, I got little instructions here. My little instructions there. MDLX. I don't know what that stands for, but I think they're nice.